YouTube, it's Aaron here with another Tippmann A5 video. Today's video we're going to be installing the FANG Trigger from TechT, and this is the Tippmann A5 X7 HE series. So let's take a look at the packaging. Just to let you guys know, there is a few steps involved in the installation of this trigger, and it does include taking the grip frame apart to replace the new trigger guard. Okay, so it's everything out of the packaging. Okay, so you got your new trigger guard. This is why we need to take the clamshell of the trigger frame apart. And here is your lovely trigger. Actually feels like a really good solid aluminum piece, so you know it's going to be very durable. Comes with some hardware as well as some springs and a dowel that is specific for this bearing here, which needs to be swapped out once we go to swap the triggers. But first off, I think we're going to take care of the trigger guard. That is probably the most amount of work, the majority of it anyways. So okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off by just getting the push pins, get our trigger frame taken off. Okay, you remove the ASA. So in my case, just take a screwdriver, undo the screws. Just makes this all easier to work with here, and then we'll set the gun right aside. So I did end up going out and getting the new hardware for the ASA. I know I was talking about that in my last video when we installed it. Did need some longer screws, and I ended up going out today and getting that, so got that done. All right, so now we just take that, set the gun aside. So first off, we're just going to remove our safety switch. We're going to pull out our trigger assembly. Okay, set that aside, and now we'll have to remove this bottom and these three top screws here with the screwdriver. So let's get this removed. Once we get this opened, hopefully I can get it done pretty quickly. And hopefully this will be the last time I'll be taking this trigger frame apart for a while. So now we got the ape in here. That was the one time I had to take that apart. The second time I had to take it apart was, I think I pinched a wire, so I had to re-functionate the wires. And now this is the third time taking it apart. So I can't see it being too good for the screws. Oh yeah. So I got the wrong Allen key, right? All right, so now that we got the three screws removed. Okay, so we're just gonna lift our plate here. Okay. I have a magnet there that tends to come off every time, or come out of its little seat every time I take this apart. So, anyways, what we do here is we remove our little piece here. All right. Okay, so now remove that, set that aside. and we just now drop in our new replacement. Pretty simple. And there you go. We are officially done. So now we can put our clam shell back together and resume on with the trigger installation. So now this part is maybe a little tricky, so remember, try not to pinch any of your wires, so you may want to secure them. Okay, just push them down into their little pockets or their grooves that they naturally sit in. Okay, so everything looks pretty good. So we'll just go ahead and we'll just drop the clam back down. There we go. Beautiful. Now let's replace our screws, put them back in. That was pretty painless. There we go. And then our last screw up here. Bottom screw. And there we go. Now we can set that aside, and we could just now focus on the trigger install. So you grab your packet. Okay, so we're going to remove the top plate. All right, just like that. We'll take that and move that and put that aside. So this is the trigger assembly. Okay, so we're going to remove this trigger spring, and the trigger, and this dowel right here. And we're going to replace it with the one that came with this trigger. So let's go ahead and remove the spring. Thankfully, this kit comes with 3 different springs, so you should be able to select the kind of pull, the lightness or hardness of your tension of your pull. Okay, so we'll grab our little parts kit that came with the trigger, and we're going to grab that dowel that I was talking about. Okay, so there we go. There's that little dowel. So we're going to take the one dowel out that is for the trigger. Okay, and then we're going to take the one that just came with it, and we're going to put that in there. Just slide that up in there. And if you can't get to go flush, you could always just press up against the table. Okay, that works as well. Works really well, actually. So we'll do that. And there we go. She is flush. So now that we've done that, in this trigger, I already have my hardware installed. So in your spares bag, it comes with 3 set screws. Okay, so there's one long one and one very, very short one. Or 2 short ones, sorry. Now, one of those short ones has like a little plastic, I don't know if you can see that. It's like a plastic tab that's on it, and that just helps protect your frame from any damage that the screw can manage to do when you're walking the trigger. So, and then the other one doesn't have a tab, so if you don't really care about your trigger frame, it doesn't really matter which one you use. Okay, so the top one goes up here at the top, so that is your post travel. And then down here, no, your top is your pre-travel and your bottom here is your post-travel. So it's all based on your personal preference. Like, I can show you how to do it, but you may not like my setup or the way I like it, but you know, everyone has their own personal preferences. Okay, so now what we do, we just take our little trigger here and we put it in that spot. I believe I have the dowel in the wrong spot. I'm sorry. It is the other way around. The front corner. I'll show you in a second. Okay. So it's supposed to be from the front here. Okay. It's supposed to be the one at the corner here that you replace the dowel with the one for the FANG trigger. So I just had it in the wrong spot. Okay, now we just toss our trigger on. There we go. Lovely. All right, now we just grab our cover and we'll put that back on. Now, like I said, if you're having a hard time, you know, with the pins, just push down the table and that will become flush. So when we put it back in our grip frame, it should be fine. Oh, actually, before we do that, let's pick our spring. So, you know, I have a personal preference, so I'm probably gonna want the light pull. So we're probably gonna go with a light pull, depending on how the medium is. So let's find out. Okay, so that's obviously the light. That's the medium, I think. This one's got to be the, yeah, that's the hard. Okay, so I'll go with a medium pull. All right, so let's just try that. So we'll stick that little spring in there. Jesus.
Sabish? What?
I'm doing a video. So there we go, and now we got the trigger installed. So just by holding it like this, you could try to rock it yourself. Oh, I'm finding, yeah, okay, that's a little stiff. So let's switch that out with the light. So, or yeah, the light. At least I tried it. No, I know I don't like that. So here we go. Now let's put our packet back together again. Okay. Much better. So light pull. And there you go. We'll drop our packet back in the top there. And we will put our selector switch back in again. Reinstall back onto the gun as per normal. And there you go. Insert your push pins. And reattach our ASA. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple drops of the Loctite onto these screws here for the ASA. And then we're just going to screw them in. And then we'll just resume. Okay. Screwdriver. This ASA is really nice. It's, you know, it's been a dream so far having it. My tank threads are thanking me because the stock Tippmann ASAs, wow man, they tear a strip off the threads of tanks because they're just so hard on them. So that's why I kind of like an on-off ASA, so this way you could turn the pressure off before fixing or taking the tank off the gun. So there we go. We have installed the trigger guard and the trigger itself. Now what we're going to do is we're going to see if the gun actuates. Okay, so if I pull the trigger to see if it actually will work. But I can tell you right now it probably isn't, just because of the set screw. Alright, so I grab a screwdriver for that. Okay. So I'm going to back out. So now this is going to be the pain in the ass part. What we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to take off and take out our packet with our grip, with our trigger in it, and adjust the screws and put it back in. And that's very unfortunate, but that is actually how it's going to go. And before we even start, let's put a couple of drops of thread lock on it, or a drop. So this way, when the screw is set, just let it dry and it will stay put. Okay. Now we got a drop on that, that's good. Okay, and I think that is also in a good spot. So we could return that back in. There we go. Reaffix the grip frame. So there's going to be a couple times, we're going to probably have to do this a couple times just to get it right. Let's try it. So pull the trigger. If it actuates, that's great. If not, then we'll have to set that again. So just semi-automatic. It does. Okay, so I'm finding that the grip or the trigger does not return for whatever reason, so we're going to check that out. Okay. That's kind of weird. It could be that set screw at the top. Yeah, I think it is too. Okay, that's kind of strange. Okay, so we're gonna have to adjust this screw as well. So I'm going to back it out just a bit, throw some thread lock on that as well, and then back it back in. Alright, back it back in. Now you got your thread lock on it. There we go. Try not to get all this thread lock everywhere. Okay, so we'll put that back in. Try her again. So it's going to be like this, on and off. Uninstall it, reinstall, uninstall it, reinstall. It's kind of a pain at first, but once you get it set, it should be good. You shouldn't have any more issues. So sounds good so far, man. So that's kind of strange why that just kind of sticks there. That's kind of the strangest thing, isn't it? But other than that, yeah. So there we go. So we've just successfully installed the trigger, and it actually does actuate, so that's good. So if you find that it doesn't actuate too much or at all, then you're gonna have to continue to take this grip frame off the gun and reset your set screws to be in the right spots. It's a little bit of a tinkering around thing with but however, it really does boil down to personal preference in the end for the user on how he likes his trigger set. So like I said, I could run through that with you guys right now, but however, I just feel like it's going to take too long. But there we have it. So we have just installed our FANG trigger onto our Tippmann A5. So hopefully in the next couple of days, I'm going to go out and get a tank of air. We're going to take this out and we're going to test shoot, and I'm going to show you everything all running in action. So that'll be the video that we've been all waiting for well over a year now. So other than that, that is pretty well, I think, the last upgrade install that we're going to do for now. Right now, we're just probably going to do a shooting video for the next one. So other than that, if you guys have any questions, just comment below, hit that subscribe button, and have yourselves a great day. Thanks, guys.